Welcome back, mortals.
He's no ace detective. Akechi is the perpetrator behind the mental shutdown crimes.
Correct, he's no ace detective. He's ace treasurer.
On top of that, there's someone else commanding Akechi. Someone with great authority. So great that they can order an assassination in a police station. That's why we had to make a move before they did.
I bet money it's somebody. I bet it's Evil McEvil Asshole.
We baited Akechi into Sis's palace, making him dispose of our leader's fake, but think.
Can you elaborate on that in more detail? What exactly happened in my
We're sorry for using you without your permission. Your palace had all the conditions we...
What condition?
First, we required a place inside the cognitive world that was the same as...
That place is based on the real world after all. Anywhere that's not warped looks just like normal.
That's why nobody but the person who uses the nav even realizes they're in the metaverse.
Back with Kamoshida, we came in from the station without even noticing.
Brings back memories,
You
mortal.
totally can't tell the difference if there ain't any distortion.
We had already investigated Nijima-san's palace when Makoto brought the suggestion to it.
I was seriously impressed by that suggestion. To be honest, I didn't quite understand it, but...
It was a great idea.
It's good we have her heading up our operation.
Makoto is normally so calm as well, but once her mind is set, she gets oddly impulsive.
I did have a bit of a rivalry forming with Akechi. But I just couldn't contain myself anymore once you became a target, sis. The reason I joined the Phantom Thieves was to heal your heart, after all.
My own achievements were all that mattered to me. I'm sorry I couldn't see that.
That goes for the both of us.
We heard from Mako-chan that you were going to do the interrogation, Nijima-san.
And regarding its location, I take it you used...
I'm sorry.
Yes, mortal.
There were two things we were able to confirm while we were checking the metaverse. First, our clothes didn't change when we were down in the interrogation. Second, the scenery and details outside of the palace proper were the same as in the real world.
Once we heard that from Makoto, we secretly went to check it out without Akechi knowing.
There was also one more thing we absolutely needed to make this work. A perfect cognitive replica of him in the metaverse's interrogation room.
Since he had yet to be caught, though, there obviously wouldn't be anyone in that room.
Once we saw the casino guests and police officers, we were convinced this would work. They looked no different from actual living.
After that, we just had to work our way into the palace like usual, while keeping Akechi in the dark.
Yeah, we had to trick him, which that was easy.
Everything went as planned up until we defeated Sis's shadow. However, it was then that we were met with a terrifying unexpected. As a result, even though we managed to grab the treasure, Except that was all an act. We had prepared an empty briefcase beforehand, and merely acted like we were taking the treasure. This was because we knew the police would be coming for us.
We made sure before the operation that the police would be waiting to ambush us. And just as expected, he totally took...
That it did.
Him getting captured by the police went exactly how we planned it.
And I had been interrogating him with no knowledge of this. But how did you lure Akechi into this cognitive world?
All I needed were the coordinates.
Akechi disposed of the fake in the palace and left thinking he had been victorious. It must have been truly hilarious for our leader who sat idly in the real world's interrogation. Surely he was acting quite cocky by himself in that quiet chamber.
So that's why you gave me your phone. I only took it because of what you told me.
Ah, it's a shame I didn't have the opportunity to see that for myself.
I couldn't see it either, mortal.
All I could do
I
was
didn't
try
have-
to handle
they
all the
didn't,
messages
have any
that
mirrors
started
in
coming
there.
to me on his phone. Huh. So in other words, I've been to the metaverse, albeit for a brief moment.
In our experience, there is little danger when someone enters their own palace for so short a...
That's the other reason we had him give it to you. We needed you to listen to Alibaba, deceive the guard, and ultimately aid in his escape. By having you head back to the interrogation room, we could return you to the real world as well.
I mean, I had to think of some way to keep you from running into Akechi mid-assassination.
Huh. Astounding. I hadn't the slightest idea that such a grand operation was taking place within me.
I'm so glad he was able to persuade you during the interrogation. Even though we knew Akechi's plan, we were pretty worried about that part.
Why is that?
Without Sis on our side, Futaba's plan and subsequent breakout would have never been possible. That persuasion was easily our greatest gamble. We couldn't consult Sis beforehand. It was absolutely the make or break moment of the entire...
Still, I'm surprised you could convince me in such a short time. Were you confident you could do it?
Don't remember drugs.
Understandable.
Drugs were pretty good. Not as good as the ones that turned the eyes, though.
Either way, I can't believe you went for such a risky idea.
If we could just tell you the true culprit's plan, I knew you'd realize the bigger picture. Realize that our leader was telling the truth.
Trick to
And that there
make
was a
that so
greater evil
lost.
to pursue.
As a result, we emerged victorious.
That we
And
did.
the reason you kept this a secret from me was so you could catch the true culprit, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Plus, you had lost control of yourself at the time.
This is stunning. All I can really do is laugh.
I've kind of figured out that you guys made Akechi kill a fake. But what did you do about the body?
The police never even checked it.
Huh?
They had a coroner working to ensure his death was reported as a suicide. That coroner didn't take one look at the scene and just passed along a falsified death certificate.
The bad guys have that much influence?
Murder in a police station would be reckless otherwise. We also knew of a possible conspiracy.
Thanks to Futaba-chan's messages and the guard's demeanor, I eventually came to understand. And since the higher-ups at the police knew nothing of this, they were thrown into disarray. As a result, his suicide during imprisonment was reported on the news, just as Akechi planned.
And with that confusion, he was able to escape with Nijima-san's help.
I made sure nobody would check the morgue for his body, and thanks to that, nobody knows he survived.
Thinking back to the interrogation, though, I can't believe what they did to him. The callous use of violence, and even drugs, is utterly abnormal.
Trust me, mortal. It could have been worse. We could have used. They could have used some of that stuff from the Isles. And that stuff could be really good, or really bad. Then again,
If
we
he
don't
had
know
lost
that.
consciousness and hadn't been able to tell Sis about the phone, he would have died. I'm truly glad you made it back safe.
It was close.
I almost became
I
one
must
of your
have left
assailants
to
as
the
well.
Isles, back to the Isles so I could have some drinks. And talk with
It
the.
still freaked
the
me
t-
out when I saw the suicide on the news, though.
We made sure to live normal lives while he was being interrogated to avoid drawing any suspicion. Even with that, I couldn't help but worry for him in my heart.
Well, I knew right away that her plan worked out.
I wanted to believe, but considering what we were up against,
Ryuji's a bit on the dense and carefree side.
Can it, Cap?
I had to be patient and avoid this place until things settled down. I finally feel relieved.
we knew he was alive, but it was difficult to not worry until we could confirm it in person.
Now that I think about it, my interrogation was just a formality for the head commander. What a joke, letting me interrogate someone who was meant to die. They just wanted to avoid backlash. Very well. From here forward, I will do my utmost to assist you. You saved me, after all.
That one did.
That's reassuring to
I'll do whatever I can to help too. Let's take a break for now, though. Oh, and feel free to use the first floor when you guys want to get together. You'll need a hideout where you can be safe. Just say the word, and I'll close.
Are you sure?
This guy can't leave. Plus, you won't make much progress if people can hear you from downstairs. It's not like this place is the liveliest joint in town. It won't be a huge loss for me.
Okay.
Let us accept his offer.
Since we can't leave.
That sounds familiar.
Oh, Evil McEvil asshole.
Enter.
Oh, we need to talk about Tretro. Ah, Tretro. Hi, Evil
That's
McCastle.
the death certificate of the principal offender.
Evil,
correct?
Tretro,
Is there a
McCastle, and
problem
Evil.
with it?
No, nothing in particular. More importantly, you've done well with regard to the prosecution.
The cause of death for the SIU director has been settled as a stroke.
I had him work quite substantially on forging evidence. His loss should be mourned.
Luckily, I know better prosecutors than him. Miles Edgeworth, Franziska Van Karma. Let's see, there was even Manfred Van Karma. And even Prosecutor Godot was better.
It was thanks to his efforts that I could enter the Phantom Thieves' interrogation room, too.
The SIU is in disarray with his death. I'll take my time choosing a successor after the elections.
At any rate, I'm now praised as a hero, and I owe it all to the Phantom Thieves.
All possible
Oh, nah,
hindrances
yes
are
you
now
do.
gone. There's no doubt that this election is mine.
No, it isn't. Be glad we aren't gonna. Oh, that we haven't stabbed you yet.
And on to our next story. The snap election for the House of Representatives. Discussion is swirling around potential nominees, as the candidates will announce on the 23rd of this month, while voting will be held on the 18th of next.
Elections, huh? Don't matter to us. It's not like we can vote in them yet anyway.
Why don't we resume our conversation?
Well, the Phantom Thieves are back together. We can finally take it to Akechi and the bastard backing him.
Have you figured out who's behind all?
Akechi
Evil
accidentally
McEvil
let that
ass-
slip after the murder. He said, Shido-san.
Shido.
It's Evil
He is
McEvil asshole.
unmistakably a man of power if he has such strong connections to the police.
Shido? Could it be Masayoshi Shido?
I believe he's a politician. Remember, Ryuji? You said his speech was too loud.
For real?
It's certainly
you did.
possible that Shido is the mastermind.
Do you have some kind of...
Nothing material. However, there are various conditions which align with that First, he would profit from damage done to the current administration by the psychotic Brit. He's maintained a negative stance toward the Phantom Thieves and has gained tremendous popularity.
And he's an evil he's an evil asshole. Hence his new name, Evil McEvil asshole.
On top of that, he'll most likely become the next Prime Minister if he wins this upcoming election.
No.
Did he set us up with that election in mind?
That did.
If he is behind all this, that would be in stark opposition to his honest public image.
So his current position and popularity...
We'll make him have a change of... Mom.
Shido.
What is the matter?
I had a feeling he was wrapped up in all this, just based on the connections I had from my I think the one who crushed Wakaba's research and confiscated her materials was probably Shido.
That hit
The
was.
moment Wakaba died, I had a hunch he was involved. But there wasn't anything I could do. So I chose to protect Futaba and went into hiding.
Why didn't you say that
I'll be
sooner?
back, mortals.
You guys would have
I'll let the
definitely gone
conversation
after
go.
him if I had. He would have just killed all of you, no doubt. That's what he usually does to people who get in his way.
Originally, I was looking into the mental shutdown cases. It was then that I accidentally stumbled upon government research regarding the psychotic breakdowns. So I tracked down the whereabouts of that research data and met with the associated parties. Boss was one of those parties. I would never have imagined all of this was connected. The mental shutdowns, psychotic breakdowns, Shido, and even the Phantom Thieves' actions.
Way back when, Shido kept saying he was going to be Prime Minister one day. Nobody believed him, though.
What's going to happen to this country if Shido becomes Prime Minister? What about the world?
The issue is simpler than that. This is nothing more than yet another selfish adult trying to impose his will on the public.
We gotta expose that rotten bastard!
Yes, we will,
do
Mortal,
it
and I'm
like
back.
always. Then let's check the nav.
Masayoshi Shido, the guy running for Prime Minister.
Results back.
Well, duh. Ain't a surprise he has one.
Where would the location be?
Probably the diet building.
What kind of things go through a politician's head?
I always think of dirty money and shady actions.
What does he do? And where? We don't got a clue about this guy's life.
His palace must be somewhere that politicians frequent. Any ideas?
The diet building.
We got a hit!
How arrogant must he be to see himself as the ruler of the Diet Building?
Our next target's the big shot politician Masayoshi Shido. We're gonna do this, right?
Yes?
Hell yeah! Nobody against it?
Of course!
He will be a worthy opponent.
Let's win this together. Time for revenge. Then it's unanimous.
All we gotta do now is figure out what he thinks that diet building place is.
So that's the app that allowed me to enter the metaverse.
An old fart like me can't wrap his head around all this stuff.
We'll have to deal with this before Election Day, December 18th. That means we need it done by the 17th.
It's best we
we
hurry
will.
before they discover there's no body in the morgue.
Should we start tomorrow then? We can meet at the diet building after school.
That reminds me, what are you gonna do about school? You can't show up if you're supposed to be dead.
Miss Kawakami said he went back home for family reasons.
That's what I told the school.
Don't let him find out you're alive then, alright? This whole thing would be for nothing.
What do you mean?
This operation had another purpose outside of escaping Akechi's clutches. Shido tried to place all the blame on the Phantom Thieves and deceive the public at the same time. He has ruined countless lives, and even made Goro Akechi, a student, assist him with assassinations. A mere change of heart is too lenient a sentence for such an abominable criminal.
We'll be making use of the police statement that the leader of the Phantom Thieves committed suicide. Our leader, who is presumed dead, will come out of hiding to deliver a grand statement. He'll say he has escaped prison, not committed suicide, and was in fact almost killed by a criminal.
Everyone's gonna flip.
You guys thought through all this stuff too?
We're intellectuals, you know.
That's why you needed such a daring trick as getting captured and appearing to be killed. What frightening teenagers.
We're gonna
But the true battle has only just begun.
surprise
We're on the first
everyone.
round, but we must stay on our toes.
Yeah, this ain't the time to be celebrating.
These people tried to trap and kill us. There is no end to their inhuman, conniving nature. We will need to be prepared for whatever may come our way.
Oh, we will.
I finally made it this far. It's already been 2.5 years since we met.
Back then, you earned the media's attention as a young politician who could rise up against bureaucracy. Because of that, those who wanted to preemptively deal with problems tried to tie you up in scandal.
To think I would fall for the ruse schemed by those decrepit fools in power. I recall that's when you came to me. You promoted yourself saying you had special powers. If it wasn't for the research on cognition that I dabbled in, I would have thought you insane.
I made those troublesome opponents psychotic, and erased any trace of that scandal.
Who'd think that tampering with a person's heart could trigger a psychotic lapse or mental shutdown? And when someone like that said he'd support me, I had suspected there'd be an ulterior motive.
It's because I sympathized with your aspiring ideology. I believed that your ideals needed to be achieved for the sake of the country's future.
Well, my faith in you was precisely why I pulled the plug on that research. I only need you using that power. It'd be troublesome if someone else uncovered how it works.
Wakaba Ishiki, was it? That researcher. She wouldn't have had to die if she just complied.
Any suspicions should be snubbed out. Even the smallest doubt must be severed at the root. After all, we had an active public prosecutor's office director on our side, until recently.
Astounding, isn't it? To think the director himself often forged evidence to secure his promotion. He was quite surprised when you confronted him about it. He didn't know who leaked that information. Well, I got that out of his shadow, so technically speaking, he did it himself.
This country's affairs have become stagnant. The political world is filled with old men who only act to preserve their own vested interests. The general public has forsaken such political affairs and don't even bother. Only ruin awaits us.
I must agree.
There's no
Yes,
need
it
to be
does
ruined
if we
along
don't
with
stop
such
ya.
incompetent fools. I will lead this country to its revival. Those who get in the way must be eliminated at
Talk about
times. That's the correct way to use the metaverse.
Still, it would stand out if there were continuous deaths and scandals with your political rivals, which is why I made them suspects. Prosecute the targets that I turn psychotic, and solve them as cases unrelated to you. And thus, the charismatic ace detective was born.
Thanks to your efforts, my clean image remains untarnished, and I've monopolized public opinion. Once I gained public sentiment, collaborators from all sectors began approaching me on their own. The police were no exception. With their management in my pocket, keeping them in check was easy.
When the Phantom Thieves emerged, I thought things might become somewhat troublesome.
And they were just brats once we looked into it. All we needed to do was lay the blame on them.
When you told me that, I knew then that you were the better man.
Their popularity was a bit beyond my expectations, but flipping it made the negative press stronger. After that, all I had to do was openly berate them. I've been gaining more supporters since. The current administration is dead with ongoing scandals. Never mind the fact that they're my doing. Even the government parties have begun splitting up, and they're dissolving just as planned.
Oh,
Time has
look
finally
at you,
come.
evil McEvil asshole.
Just
Soon
a
enough.
little more, and I will take the seat of Prime Minister. However, inauguration isn't my goal. That's when everything truly begins. I'll make this country rich for the sake of its selfish and ignorant masses who can only rely on others.
In other words, you're creating a powerful country that can compete with the world.
The public resonates with my ideals and follows me. And for that, some sacrifices can't be avoided. That is my duty as the chosen one. Your assistance has been very influential in making my plans proceed smoothly. When I become Prime Minister, I'll grant whatever wish you want.
With this most recent case, my name has become known across the country, perhaps even the world. Surely my story will be passed down as a hero who won against monsters that could control people's hearts. I believe I'll lay low and devote myself to my studies.
I suppose with your age, you wouldn't come up with debauched desires.
I am thinking about the future, though.
Just to let you know, if he's
Well, how do I put this?
Well then.
so. Well, how do I put this?
Oh, we'll handle the worst of it soon enough.
Remember how I hijacked your phone during the school trip? That kind of came in.
Oh, so mortal.
Remember how I put that wiretap app in Akechi's phone? Basically, that let me see GPS info for 2 phones, yours and his. I'd be able to tell the precise moment Sai Nijima, who had your phone, ran into Akechi.
That's a good thing.
That's when I saw my chance, and beep, sent the signal to activate the Metaverse Navigator.
Which is a good thing.
There was a chance they'd just pass each other without saying a single word.
Which that wouldn't have been a nice thing.
That's why we needed you to tell Sai Nijima to show the phone to Akechi.
This plan still surprises me no matter how many times I hear it.
Still, I couldn't just directly hack into the Metaverse Nav. It's a mysterious app after all. But you know how it has that bookmark function? All you have to do is push the button. Making the phone think he was pushing that button was totally doable.
That it was, and I'll see you all in the next video.